Hello everybody, Tech Stack here. So today I was able to get some time in and made some icons for buttons for the GUI, right? Because the tabs and buttons, image buttons on the GUI was an important thing, I thought. So we've got icons for barracks, archery ranges, stables, food, or farms, lumber yards, stone mine sites, iron, gold, diamond, walls, stairs, gates, watchtowers, minions, archers, lancers, pikemen. I started working on another one down here. Hey Tinkerbell, hey Zach. So that's cool, right? Now, if I go into the GUI in the game, a couple changes. We've used those buttons now, first off, right? I've also set the code up in such a way where it is constantly, all the different GUIs, except for this one, are using the same rendering code, basically. So we pass in what the resources are, what the button is, and it knows what to do, basically. Right? So they all use the same thing, it all renders in the same spot on the screen, makes it very neat, very tidy. Very easy for me to change also, which is going to be an important thing. So this is going to be the research tab. All of these buttons have hover over text, so if you can't figure out what they are, you just got to hover over it. It does have localization support as well, so if English is not your native language, if later down the road someone were to localize it to, say, I don't know, French, right, then the French words would come up on the screen for it. And you click the button, and it gives you the resource. Hover over it, it gives you this nice blue icon to show you that you're over that particular thing. So yeah, that's how that's working. Next up was to get the research screen working, which I started on these buttons, but I don't know that I'm going to use them necessarily. If we were to look at the creative menu here, it's got a scroll bar like this. That might be something that's better to use. Not 100% sure about that, but it's a possibility. Not a vertical one, but a horizontal one, right? So scroll this way across the screen. Have the, what's the word? Buttons for all of the, draw a blank. All of the researches that show up inside the window. Now, we've got this too, where this scrolls like this. I might need to look how it's rendering things and cutting them off, because it does cut them off somehow. It's like it's calling it if it's not inside this box. Yeah. Oh, what else? Oh, if we were to go out of this, go back in and not choose a team and not choose to start the game, if I just escape out of it, we're not in the game. If I hit Y, which is to bring up our normal GUI for the town hall or the main menu there, it now takes you back to the lobby. That's beneficial because now I can go spectate, get out of that, explore the map before the map match starts, look at all the map, come back to the main area, hit Y, go back to survival, assuming I'm on the ground, I won't die, and then choose a team and start the game. Right, so that's kind of cool. And let's see, do I have... That certainly helps. Get that all the way up. And time, set day, game, rule, do, daylight cycle, false. There we go. And game mode, creative. Now, if I were to look at our to-do list, it's kind of, well, it's long. For the amount of things that we need to do for this next milestone that CZ has set up. He set it up for due the 20th. That's 3 days from now. 1, 2, 3, the Friday. There's no way I'm getting all this stuff done by Friday, I don't think. That's a lot of things. I understand some of them are his, but some of them are mine. And well, this one's done now. We just need to make a build out of it. That'll close that one. The pike weapon's done. Farm bounding box is easy. That's done. Siege workshop. You know what, let's go into my project because this has all of those same issues set up and whether or not they need to be done or not still. So what needs to be done is the Armory Research Center. Research Center is half-baked. Armory is not even started. Tech Tree is going to be a ton of work, and that's why I don't think we're going to finish. This, I don't know if it's really needed. And bounding boxes. So the Tech Tree one, yeah, it's a ton of work. I need to get scrolling working in there. So maybe that should be our first priority. Maybe we should take up a screenshot of this. Use it as an example. That is a horrible screenshot. Just for colors and things like that. Go into Photoshop, create a brand new file, 256, 256. And these will be our widgets. Those are certainly huge. Let's go all the way zoomed in here. What is going on? Okay, that gives us a 1 pixel border there. You know what? I don't think that's the right size. I think that's not gonna work. So let's do this instead. Where are we? Let's delete that out of here. Come on. Okay. Put you in there and just delete the whole layer. Cool, we can't. Create another one. Now we can. There you go. Okay. So let's go into the code instead and find the creative menu and find that scroll bar, blah, 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 blah. Hit the actual resource file. So what I want to do is I want to take that scrolling bar thing and turn it on its side, basically. Wherever it is, creative, client, there we go. Screen, creative screen, and scroll. Just gotta find which resource file it's in. That's what I'm looking for. Let's see this then. So we're in textures, GUIs, items. So let's go GUIs. Container, creative inventory. Add item search. Let's see what that one looks like. Oh, that's literally the background image that's there. Okay. What about... Oh. Nope. There we go. So we need those images there. Just take them like that. Get rid of all these other ones. Paste them in. Click so that we can get this up, and we're going to rotate it 90 degrees. There we go. Apply that transform. Oops, let's see. Something did not quite copyright, did it? Dang. Okay, so let's delete this. Okay, so the dark edge is there. But if I were to rotate it, rotate it this way? No. Okay, so we're gonna have to fix it. So let's move this up and to the left. Yes, like that. Oh no, didn't do it right. What is our mode here? So let's get out of that. Preferences, general maybe? Yeah, we don't want bicubic. We want nearest neighbor to preserve the hard edges when we rotate. Oops, I want to go 90. Cuts it off again. That's so strange. Well, okay. Plan B. We will put this here and just get sizes. Like that. And if I do new, it tells me the size. It is, my selection is 12 by 15. So we want to make a 15 by 12. Okay. So that there's 15. Oops. And 12 is down to here. Okay, now they're out of the way. $15. Grab that background color, paste that in. Now we can start working on this. Okay, that is our one image. Now we need to move that selection down just like that. Shoot. We're going to select these first, move them. Oh, no, don't do that. Move them out of the way that way. There we go. And let's get all of this selected once more. Okay, and we will move that selection down. Grab our G tool, grab this dark color, paste that in. Grab this, draw the lines. There we go. There's our 2 scroll bars. Let's see if I do a marquee around I guess just that. Hit delete. There we go. So we'll call this what? GUI widgets. Yeah, GUI widgets. So save as. This is my Photoshop folder. GUI widgets. WIDGETS. And we need to export this out. Doing save as into a different folder. Which is going to be our GUI location. So sources, main, resources, assets, TSRTS, textures, GUI. Boom. Okay, so now we can use something similar to the button image on that. Here you go. And move it around on the screen. At least that's the idea. And when you're clicking on it, we can use the darker color instead of the lighter color. So let's actually try and create this as its own widget, I guess. Let's go out to image button. Jizz in widgets. There's no scroll bar here, right? There's a slider. Where did I see the slider? Sound slider. Abstract slider. What is the hierarchy on this? Nope. The check button, checkbox button. We need to remember that one. I'm gonna have to use that later. Resource textures checkbox. Let's see what that looks like first. GUI checkbox. That's the one up. Checkbox. Just whether it's got that check in it or not. That's it. Okay. So we might need to end up using our other tab here. We might even may need to end up adding tabs at the bottom as well. And what I'm thinking is those tabs will allow us to, on our troop production, we've only got 3 here, but effectively having 6 on the screen is about the max if you want room for other things to page through. And I think we might want to page through or do settings for the queue down here, and that setting could be whatever's in my queue, repeat it. Right? So whenever something drops off from the left, put it back in the queue on the right, so it constantly builds the same set of troops. So you could queue up I'm sorry, it's supposed to be over here. We could queue up minion, lancer, or I'm sorry, pikeman, minion, pikeman, minion, pikeman, right? And it would keep doing that then indefinitely until we run out of resources or whatever. That's probably how I'd do it too. So it would check if you have the resources. If you don't, then it's going to drop out of the queue. Or put it back into the end of the queue to try again. No, it'd have to drop off the queue altogether. So you'd have to make sure that you had the economy to keep it going. Yeah, that's going to be a tricky one to do. But in order to fit more tabs at the bottom, if we had to, we could bump this up. And still have our hotbar down there. Although our hotbar is not important. We could also consider hiding this, possibly. No, we need it. Never mind. We need it. And there's not a lot of room on this, believe it or not. And I get this text is kind of small, but I don't know that I can make it big enough that you can read it and still fit everything on here. This is about 50% render size right here. So 100% would be, twice as tall and twice as wide. Now, yes, I could cram them together, but then as you get bigger numbers, say 125, this was another big number, it would start to get kind of hard to read. Yeah. Let's see about how to get this scroll bar on here. Where's my code? Here it is. So the creative menu, how does it work for scrolling? We couldn't find where it actually rendered the thing, did we? Mouse scroll. Let's look for everywhere this current scroll is used. Mouse dragged. Container, scroll 2. Temp inventory. Nothing with rendering. Yeah. Let's see if it's blitting something. Blit. Background image. Creative inventory tab. Background image name. Which one did we say had the scroll bar in it originally? Just tabs. Which is different, okay. Well, there it is. What is the call hierarchy on that? Tab images. Yeah, okay, so it's not in there. Not in container screen. How'd we get in container screen? Okay. Blit, current scroll. Okay, so this is probably it. Hey, Spiderman. Item group, get tabs image, which is the creative tabs. Okay. And it's starting at I, 175. That's where it's going to place it. So it's all the way over to the right side of the screen, I would assume, because it's GUI left plus 175. GUI top plus 18, so pretty close to the top. And it's K, which is J plus 112. But it's subtracting J back out and adding 17. Or taking 17 off. So it's at 1 something. That's still not quite right, but it's also the current scroll position. Oh, plus J. Okay, so that's the Y value. Okay. So it starts over at 232 plus whether or not needs scroll bar. And it adds 12 to it. And we said this thing was 12 wide. and it is at 132 in the original image. So what I mean by that is this is starting clear over here. So this is the code that's doing it. So it's either picking this one or this dark one if there's no scroll bar needed. Okay, so the dark one means that there is no scroll bar. Cool. So we just need to split this to the screen on our research screen. And that was in which method we're in? There's an outline. This is being done in draw GUI container background layer. Okay. And our research screen, draw GUI container background layer right there. Okay, so we can do that down here. So draw the scroll bar bits. And I'm gonna put this as part of this one, I think, for now. Private resource location, texture, widgets. And we'll just call it widgets, like I said. If I save this, it's gonna ask me to terminate, and I will. And we need to refresh our assets. Okay. Then we're going to bind the texture for that specific texture. Widgets. And we do the blit. At 0, 0, yes. And not from size, so we do 15 by 12. And we're going to do X, Y. No, we're going to do GUI, this dot GUI left, and this dot GUI top, plus this dot height minus 12, and then minus another, say 5 for buffer. The 12 is the width or the height of our scroll bar, and an extra 5 just to get it away from the edge. Let's try running that, see if we get a scroll bar down there. It's not going to move or anything, but let's see if we get it in the right spot. I guess we want to add another 5 here too, so it doesn't go all the way left, plus 5. And while that's opening up Minecraft, let's also take into account the fact that I am not thinking too far ahead, but I should be. And hey, Space Engineers, how's it going? In my GUI, somewhere in here, Barracks GUI? Is that what we're still calling it? Yep. This is the width of our window, basically. So if I were to take this and say capture from there to say there and copy, and then go into our widgets and paste this in and move it to where I can see it actually. That is the approximate width of what we want this scroll bar to be. Right, and currently it's how tall? Currently it is 10 high, so we want to make it 2 pixels bigger than what it currently is. So if I do magic selection and get 2 more pixels, oh, we're gonna have to be closer to this than that. Okay, so there's 1 pixel, 2 pixels. and grab that, fill that, copy that, go to new, and we get one that's 156 wide by 12. Now I'm going to save myself some headache and make this 6 pixels shorter, right? Because 150 and 15 are multiples of each other, right? So there's 10 units of scrolling eventually. That'll save me a lot of headache. So if we were to only get the first 150 pixels of that, that would work just fine. So save this, save as, so we get the exported file as well, PNG, and go to the right folder. Main, resources, assets, TS, textures, GUI, the GUI widget thing, wherever it was. Okay. Now, this is okay, but we want to do one step further. And what we want to do next is change the color. Oh, really? What the heck is it doing? How is that not all one solid color? That was weird. Okay. And then I guess we want to put this border-ish thing around. Light's coming from the upper left. This is a sunken thing, so we want to do something like this. And okay. Dang it, keep changing tools. Huh, it's changing tools on me. I'm not doing it. So that is up to 150. So I think that's proper. We'll find out. Grab the white there. That should make it look like it's recessed in when we're all said and done. Okay. So let's save that again, I guess. Should have done that before. PNG. Get it to refresh in Eclipse. Okay, let's see if we got that scroll bar showing on the screen. We won't have its track that it runs in, but we'll have everything else. Just realized something. Oh, thought it was gonna crash on me. Okay, so where is it rendering to? Did we did bind the texture. Let's see if we got any errors, because that's weird. Yeah, GUI widgets not found. Because it needs to be called GUI widgets. Great. Okay, and I just realized in this I made one mistake, and that mistake is this actually needs to be 2 pixels wider and 2 pixels taller, because if we want this background to always show, we need to let the button or this scroll bar slide in this darker spot, right? Not on the white, not on the extra dark. So, how am I going to do this? I think if I grab Let's start in the far right. I grab that. Like that. And move that 1, 2. And then we take this, copy, paste, and move that. Okay, so now we're 2 extra pixels wide. So I need to write down 152, and it goes from 1 to 151, or we can scroll. And then do the same vertically, I guess. So grab everything, and then just move it down 2 pixels. Oh, come on, why did you do that? Really? V, boom, boom. Why does it take only a chunk of it? Oh, okay, I see. There, do this. We want to merge these 2 layers together. That's why it's doing that to me. And then, boom, boom. Okay. Now back to the marquee tool. Move this. Fine. We'll just do it this way. Let's merge both those. Okay, now we should have an image. And let's just do a test here in Photoshop. Copy that. Oops. Copy that. Paste it. Move it to where we want it to be. We'll have to put it on top. And you can see it will fit in the slider then. So that's the concept. Okay. Save. Save as one more time. For PNG. I really should script this in Photoshop somehow. I know you can, but I'm not sure how its scripting language works. Oop. Okay. So now that that's settled, we need to restart the game. Because that's referenced up here and it's not going to load it again. Refresh. Okay. So unfortunately, that's what a lot of this is trying, make little tweaks, go back to the file, make some more tweaks, try it, go back to the file, make some more tweaks. Oh. Wasn't looking at my screen. So this is all about getting a scroll bar so we can have enough researches in the game. Forget actually coding the researches. I'm laying the foundation to be able to do it. That's basically what I'm doing. So actually is going to want 2 things here, right? That I'm going to blit onto the screen. The first one is, one's going to be this for sure, right? No doubt about that. But we want to go 1 pixel less than when we're moving this one and put that there, and 1 pixel higher. So I guess -6 then. And when we start at 0 on our coordinates there, but then 24, I think it is, maybe 25. And we want to go for 150 by 14. And that should be our track that this thing should lay in. blue, ready, start. Research. And we still don't see it. The heck? Did I put something in uppercase? No. Did I put something in uppercase down here? W-I-D G-E-T-S GUI widgets under GUI. It actually didn't give us an error this time. So why is it not drawing? Is it somewhere else on the screen we're just not noticing? I don't believe so. From GUI top to this dot height. Let's just make it right at the top then. Maybe I'm not calculating that properly. Okay, so we do have our scroll bar now. It's up here. So our height is much too tall. So let's take like 50 off of this. Ah, come on. Let's do 75 for that one so we get one that shows. Okay, so they're both showing on the screen. Let's do this. Awesome, they don't show at all now. Oh, this dot height is not the height of this window, is it? No, it's the... container screen versus screen. So we want X size and Y size. There we go. We said this needs to be 13, I think it was, and 12. Okay, so we need to bump our scroll bar piece up one somehow. There, it fits right in there. Okay, and we're not quite rendering enough, so 152, I guess. Perfect. And then our X side of this portion needs to be changed ever so slightly as well. Just so we can center it within the screen, right? I don't want it to be all the way over to the left and not to the right at all. So we'll say... let's do this. We're gonna get our X size. So this dot X size minus 152. That should give us what's left. Offset. Offset. Call it X offset. Divided by 2. Okay, and we'll just do that there, and this one will be one less. Ta-da! We've got ourselves a scroll bar. Step 1 complete. So we can have up to 10 units of scrolling where this thing completely moves to the next step over, right? Because this is 1/10 of this whole thing. But if I go in sub-steps, it is also 12 wide, so we've got more than enough, right? Because we have up to 150 units of actual difference between the left and right. Basically, we can move it 1 pixel at a time if we wanted to. That's what I'm trying to say. Now, I'll have to figure out the drag and drop mechanics of it, but also there's the scroll wheel on your mouse that we could use as well. So I'm going to start with that piece, I think. So let's close others, because I got a bunch of crap open right now. Let's put in here GUI, research GUI, scroll bar, whip. Okay, get that going. And we want to go down to our creative screen one more time because it's already got this similarly implemented. Creative screen. Handle mouse click, when the class clicks for a slot. Nope. Resize. Key pressed. If it's the search key, blah blah blah. Release key. Current scroll. Oh. Search tags, GUI container foreground, mouse clicked. Curious if this is what we need. Is mouse over group? So that's over the tabs in this case. Let's check and see if it's over tabs. It's not quite what we wanted. Mouse released. So whether or not it's actively being scrolled. I can see this working out already, okay. So when they release the mouse, it says active scrolling false. Still no indication of how it's being done. Wish I knew what the third parameter on these were. I know one's the X, one's the Y, but what's the third one? Set current needs scrolling. Blah de blah blah. Mouse scrolled. This is what we need. So if it doesn't need a scroll bar, then it goes down and it returns. And if it does need a scroll bar, then this is what we set up, basically. Okay. So we need a indication of where we're at within our scrolling right now. So int current scroll amount equals 0. And we're going to... Really? Yeah, sure. We're going to take that and add that to our offset of the actual scroll indicator. Scroll indicator. And this is scroll trench, we'll call it. Does that make sense to me? It's the depression which it's seen. And we're going to add in our current scroll amount, okay? Now, this method is what we need to override here. Oops. At override. Come on, be happy. We need to return something. Return. It's probably doing a super call. It is not. We'll just say true. Because we're always going to handle it. Okay. Now, what do we actually look at? It is the fifth one, or the third parameter. I guess we just take our current scroll position minus whatever that is, and we're good. Divided by I, which probably I is, yeah, the total height. Okay. So we get our current scroll amount. That equals that minus scroll amount. Mouse X. Mouse Y. Oh, and we need a semicolon. Sure, cast it to an integer. And we can divide this by int total scroll units. Right, and we're going to set it to 10 for now. Let's put that a capital T to a lowercase t. There we go. Total scroll units. Like that. Cool beans. Run it. See if we can get a scroll marker moving, indicator moving. Now, I personally typically don't try and put my mouse over the indicator, this part, and drag it in Minecraft. I'm not sure if that even works, to be honest. I typically will do the scroll bar or scroll wheel on my mouse, or would click in the section below that if I want it to go down, and above it if I want it to go up. It's just the way I typically scroll. But let's see how that functions in vanilla. Maybe it's not even gonna let me click on that button. If that's the case, there's no drag and drop on it, right? So it's easy to do the same. So first off, it jumps to where you click over here. Well, when you move your mouse, it does. It jumps to where your mouse is. Okay. So you can drag it, you can't click it, you can scroll wheel it. Just dragging anywhere over there with your mouse button down makes it jump to that specific spot. That's a nice little thing. Yeah, not many people talking today. Okay, I am scrolling in both directions. Nothing seems to be happening. Let's see why. See if that code's even getting called. It is. Cool. So what is our scroll amount today? It is 1.0 divided by 10. And scroll amount is 0. So 1 divided by 10, subtracting from 0, casted to an integer is going to be a very small number. Watch this here. It is negative 0.1, but if we cast that to an integer, it becomes 0, I bet. Yeah, it's 0. Okay. So how do they account for that? It keeps that a double. It keeps everything a double, and that's a float. Interesting. Okay, well, let's make it a float too. And then we don't have to worry about it. Because it'll all just work. What's an error now? Cast that to an integer. So you can do a bunch of little increments, and those little increments add up, basically. Actually, I don't think I even need this, do I? I just need to clamp this. That's all I need to do. We want to scroll it by 1 and clamp it to what our max is. So this equals math f. What is it? Math util. I forgot they changed it. Math helpers. What do they call it? Okay. Dot clamp. Current scroll number, our min 0, our max is our total scroll units. There we go. Keeps it between 0 and whatever the top number is there. So when we scroll this, it's going to get a smaller number. No, we got to go the other direction with our scroll wheel. Okay. And I might have to multiply this by -1 to get it to be the direction I want it to go. Okay, let's get rid of this breakpoint. Okay, I can move it that much, guys. So we can move it a total 10 units. So this needs to be 150 for our max then. Unfortunately, that's not going to get reset till I do that. Now we got scrolling for days, and we can go off of the edge of the screen. So we actually need 15 less than 150. Oops, 15 less, not 150 less. The reason being, that's the width of this button. There we go. So we've got our scrolling set up. Now, this might seem silly, but it'll make more sense later when I actually get a frame inside here and we draw the things that are showing up inside the frame, moving across the screen relative to the scrolling down here. Okay, so next up, I need to figure out if the mouse is over this region when it clicks, and if it is, set our scroll position to the correct relative amount, and then jump the bar there, basically. So let's do that. So where is our mouse over mouse clicked? That will do for me. So we're gonna call the utility stuff because I want it to be there. But we're gonna call our own special mouse check function. We're going to call, no, we just call it here. We'll do it here. So this dot mouse, if mouse x is greater than wherever our left position was for this one, and our mouse x is less than whatever our right side would be, which is this plus 152. This plus 152 in the scroll bar trench area on the x-axis. Looks like our X offset's not a variable, it's declared where we can reference it down here, and that is true. So we're going to do this. Let's recalculate it down here. So then we need to go if mouse Y is greater than the top position that we set this at, which was this. And we're going to say we're backing off by 6. We're going to back off by 5 to make sure we're in the dark section of it. And our mouse Y is less than, so we're not beyond the bottom of it. This plus 14 minus 2. Okay. And we also need to do a check if it's button 1. If button equals probably 0, that's probably the first left button. There we go. Uh-oh, didn't like that. Too many things. There we go. Keep running, dang you. And you crash, cool. So now we need to calculate where at within that scroll bar we are and move our current scroll position to that and clamp it. So we still want to clamp it like this. And our scroll amount, blah, 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 equals our mouse X minus that, I think. Not sure why it's giving me an error. Cast to a float, sure. Let's try that. Spooderman, it certainly doesn't help if stream avatars doesn't work, does it? I patiently await their update to come along. Well, we're close. It's functioning. It's just not putting it where I expected it to. So our math's a little off. I can't get it all the way to the left there. For whatever reason. So our current mouse X we don't want to do the left. That's probably the problem. Or not at all. Yeah, we want to subtract that out immediately. Yes. So that gives us where we are within it. And that should be all we need, right? So close. It's an actual click event too, so I have to click every time. That's fine. But not going all the way back to the left like that, I'm not getting that. We're just adding current scroll amount to it. Oh, we need to get the offset amount. So what was the offset amount? It was this. So that's what that was about. That might work. Boo-boo! Success! Okay. Now, this is on the mouse clicked. What other mouse events are there that we can use? Like the drag event kind of thing. Mouse dragged! Hey! So let's grab that one. And let's make this easy on ourselves. We've got, what? A button, an X and a Y, a button, an X and a Y. Look at that. We're set up for success here. Okay, right? Nope, yep, terminate. I know, you gotta terminate. Get rid of that one. Boom. We need to return something, so return true. And in here, that's the mouse click stuff. Why does mouse drag have more than what I thought it would have? It doesn't have a button. No! Why? Where did I see the button stuff? Ah, oh, bummer. What's the button then? Well, we know this is our Y coordinate. This is our X coordinate. What's 5? No idea. What's 6? No idea. Well, dragged to me means that the mouse is down. Mouse drag, get focus, is dragging. This is dragging. Awesome. Doesn't tell us what is dragging is defined as. Because it's an I nested event handler. Cool. What about in run? GUI event listener. Active button does not equal -1. Sure, this sounds like the right thing. Active button. So X, Y, active button. Cool. So our button is our third parameter. Button. Mouse X. Let's also create this in there because I need this to be a thing. Call it private check boolean void check mouse. Move scroll indicator to mouse. And it'll be a double mouse X double mouse Y and a int button. And we're just gonna call this right there. Now if we're clicking it, it does it. Or if we are dragging it, it will do it. I'm also going to just call this with its parameters laid out like this. Mouse Y. Mouse Y. That way if there's something special going on the super method, we can do that. So super dot boop. Okay, save. And then if this works, it should work if we're dragging the mouse around or clicking and holding, if you will. I just realized I need to do something before I go to bed. Cool. This is the last time I'll be starting Minecraft for tonight, guys. We will have scrolling here, and all we need to do as far as rendering the things within our window is use that current scroll position, or variable, or whatever I called it, and position them based on that. We'll need to figure out how to do something called calling on it, so that it only renders within a certain area, because we wouldn't want to render it outside of our window area. Okay, scroll with my mouse scroll wheel. Click and it goes, hold and it drags. Nice! Scrolling. Tis a thing. It only works when I'm over that area. If I come up out of that area, it stops working. I don't know what to do with it. Good night, everybody!
Bye.